All right, it is Tuesday. We just had a huge show. Former First Lady, or I guess you're always the First Lady, Jill Biden. Dr. Jill Biden was here today.
There's some first ladies who were never ladies, but
Fair
go
enough.
ahead.
Fair enough. But this one certainly was Dr. Jill Biden, and she was
She's
on.
a first lady and a doctor.
I mean, pretty good. And she is on to discuss her new memoir, View from the East Wing. I mean, is there ever a more tailor-made title for someone to come on the show with? And I want to go through some of the things she
I
said.
kind of get the feeling that she named it with that double entendre. Right?
I think so, too. I think so.
She should have put "View from the East Wing" that no longer exists. ...
The view from the East Wing of the UFC fighting cage. That's really what it is. There's so much that we got through today. There was a lot to talk to her about. Well, we started with something important and kind of somber. We talked about how President Joe Biden is doing. He's now living with stage 4 metastatic prostate cancer.
Yeah.
And you know a little bit about what prostate cancer is like
I
to
know
deal
a lot
with.
about it.
It seems shocking that the doctors would miss this in someone who ostensibly would have the greatest access of anyone on the planet. What do you make of this?
I still can't reconcile how they missed it. And I remember when this first got revealed that there were some people, conspiracy theorists, saying, "Oh, they knew, they just kept it hidden so that because he was running for president." I don't believe that for a moment, because
Right.
I think that there is no doubt that Jill and Joe Biden adore each other, love each other, genuinely. This is not something they're putting on for the cameras. And I think that, and there is no doubt that if Jill Biden and Joe Biden had known that he had cancer, they would have hidden it for political purposes. Just, cut that. Nip that at the bud immediately. I can't understand how they missed it. And I say that as a spouse of a man who's had prostate cancer. Al's prostate cancer was detected very early on because of a PSA test. It's a very simple blood test. And if your PSA all of a sudden starts getting elevated, they usually check on it. So it's not like they were giving him a biopsy. It's not like it was, they were already taking his blood and running a bunch of different tests on his blood for cholesterol, for this, for triglycerides, all the things that they run on your blood when they do it. So to me, it's medical negligence. I think if he had been the CEO of any Fortune 500, he most certainly would have gotten a PSA exam. I just cannot in my head reconcile it. I do get where they're coming from, where it's like, okay, if the doctors, I don't even know that, if I don't even know that I would ask, oh, what about the PSA? Now, she does say in the book, did you actually read the book?
I read excerpts of the book.
Okay, so I'm listening to the book and I'm really enjoying listening to it. I'm like on chapter 26 of 36. I'm enjoying listening to it because in the audible of the book, sometimes she makes references to certain events and speeches. Like, for example, she makes a reference to the primary debate where Kamala accused Joe of being a racist because he opposed.
That was a big deal when that happened.
It was a big deal, and believe me, she hasn't forgotten. Kamala Harris talked about school busing and said that little girl was me. That very poignant line at the time. And then you can hear it when you're listening to the book. You can hear what Kamala said. You can hear what Joe responded, and so I really enjoy listening to Audible. But back to the prostate cancer. I'm really kind of. And I'm sure she is. It's just she's not a person. I think she lets go of that kind of anger. I'm angry because I wanted Joe Biden to have a great last chapter. This guy has gone through so much personal suffering, and I found from her answer when I asked her how Joe was doing, she just said okay. She didn't say great. She didn't say feeling strong.
I asked her backstage and she said it exactly the same way. And yeah, it was concerning.
Yeah, it felt, it made me a little they because, Joe has been in great physical shape. He's been an athlete and they deserved to be traveling the world and going to all the places. It made me sad when she said that there was a moment when she was looking at travel magazines and thinking, okay, now that we're out of office,
yeah, of course,
where are we going to go? And then they get hit with this. Any cancer diagnosis just roils you. It changes your world. It is scary. It is mind numbing. And here, I know how I felt as a spouse hearing that Al had prostate cancer, and his was stage 1, and I knew that it was easily treatable and that he had 95% chance of it being eradicated, which it has been. It's probably been about 10 years since then. And so the difference that it would have made to find out that he had cancer 5 years ago, as opposed to when it was stage 4 and
No, it's significant.
metastasized to his bones, which means pain. Metastasized to his bones means also a very painful cancer. So I just think I hate it.
Well,
for
we're
them.
praying for him, and to your point, he is a strong person. He is someone.
He's also as I've said many times, I've known him for 30 years. He is an eternal optimist. And he has gone through so much in his life. And, she said in the book, one of the lines that she said, when you've lost, which really hit me hard, she said, when you've lost a child, there's very little that can shake you, that can really
only
kind of
imagine.
shake your core beliefs. And Joe Biden hasn't lost one child. He's lost 2 children. And so I think all of these experiences I miss terribly, because it made them more empathetic throughout their lives. Nobody could give a hug and give condolences and give sympathies and give encouragement like Joe Biden could. And I know that I received it when my mother died from him, and I know he did it time and time again with families of fallen soldiers when they visited cities after disasters where people had lost their homes, had lost their lives. And I miss that kind of humanity and ability to empathize, ability to feel other people's pain from a president. I think it is a very important part of being a president,
I think
having
so,
the
too.
ability to hug Americans, to hug the country in times of grief.
I think so too, and we've seen it. We've seen it on our show how compassionate he can be to people that are hurting.
I know, and but then you follow one of the most compassionate men I know, Joe Biden, with a man who has a dark heart, if a heart at all.
Yeah.
I mean, Donald Trump's inability to empathize and relate to somebody's pain is just, I think, weird. It's a weird character.
Well, you've talked about how the Bidens very well, and my takeaway from today was I always find Jill to be overwhelmingly honest in her reactions to things. She's protective, but she also doesn't sugarcoat a little bit. And I thought we saw some raw emotion from her today on a bunch of different things.
Funny enough, in the book, she talks about how she grew up kind of like in a repressive culture. Like they never really spoke about Hunter. They never really, they kept the entire Bo cancer thing quiet because Bo and Bo's family wanted the privacy. She talks about how, Joe would wake up a bunch of times at night to go pee, and she never had a conversation with him. Hey, Joe, you think something's going on with your prostate? She mentioned it to his doctor. Hey, this is happening. You might want to. And she talks about that, about how she talks about being at a campaign event when somebody asked and she just kind of let go. And so which struck me, because I mean, I really am an open book. Whatever is happening, I will tell you. And I always say to people, nobody can ever extort me, because before anybody tells you the bad things I've done, I'll tell you the bad things I've done, and without any shame. But I was struck by, like, I said to her I said to her the other day, when I was reading the book, I said, my God, you're like you. I think in Encanto, I think Lin-Manuel based that song, We Don't Talk About Bruno, on your family, because they don't talk about Bruno, they don't talk about Hunter, they don't talk about cancer, they don't talk about, and she says in the book that she always thought that was the way to do it, that was best, that's kind of how she grew up, her culture and the way she was, her upbringing. But then she said, I've always thought that was the best way to do it, to kind of hold in your emotions, and now I really wonder whether it is.
Well,
I think this book is cathartic of some of those emotions.
There were a couple times today I thought she seemed like when Sonny read to her the excerpt from Kamala's book, she seemed kind of shocked, and I thought visibly hurt by it.
And I actually, and she said she had
never read it.
And I have to tell you, I believe so. I
Yeah.
believe she has not read the book because I have a hard time. She wrote very lovingly and with a great deal of affection in her book about Kamala and Doug. I have not gotten to the end of the book, so I was surprised when I read Kamala's book because I had seen them together. I had seen Joe and Kamala together. I had seen Jill and Doug together many times, and I had seen nothing but genuine affection between them. And so I was surprised when I read Kamala's book. And I do believe Jill has not read it because I don't think she could have. I don't think she could. She doesn't seem to be one that lets go of grudges. Like we asked her.
That's really what I'm getting.
We
at.
asked her about Nancy Pelosi and George Clooney and.
Well, you've been holding on
Chuck
to that for a
Schumer.
long time. You've been saying that you think the Pelosi grudge is not going anywhere with Jill.
Well, I asked her.
Yeah.
I asked her in a commercial break. I said, "Have you spoken to Pelosi?" And she said, "No." She said, "Joe has," which does not surprise me, because Joe Biden is just. He's just,
He'll talk to anybody.
He doesn't, he'll talk to anybody. And I really don't think he holds on to grudges, but Jill Biden is an Italian girl, as is Nancy Pelosi. And I think that was a particularly hurtful thing. They had been friends for 50 years.
Well, that's something Jill said. She said these are people that she felt betrayed by. She didn't say the word betrayed, but
I said to her, these were lifelong friends. And she said some of them for 50 years.
50 years.
That's an obvious reference to Nancy Pelosi.
To Nancy Pelosi.
And so, I asked her if they had spoken, and she said no. She said, we've also not been together. I haven't seen her at, any of the funerals or the different events where so they haven't been in the same.
But that also means she didn't necessarily call when Joe was diagnosed. She didn't. I mean, there's a lot of things to unpack there.
Well, let me tell you, it would piss me off to no end if somebody who I considered a personal friend went out and said things in the press without speaking to me. I don't think I would be. I don't think I'd get over that. In this lifetime or the next.
All right. On to
what
other
did you
things.
think of the? I mean, with your producer's eye.
I thought,
what did you think of the interview?
Well, listen,
how did you squeeze a third segment out of them?
The timing worked out. She was able to stay for another 3 minutes. For those who don't know, she had a heart out and had to get out, but we asked her on the break to stay, and she was able to. But she's done a few interviews this week, so I was curious. I wanted to make sure that we covered the things we had to talk about, like the debate and her saying that she thought that in the moment she thought he was having a stroke and things like that. But I was also eager to break some new ground, and I think we did. It felt more personal.
And we talked about that moment when the debate and then the aftermath. And I remember, I think I said this the next day at the table, and I've said it all along. And I think people have thought that I was lying or I was exaggerating. I remember seeing the Bidens, which I brought up to her. 24 hours later at an event here in New York, where they were doing an LGBTQ event for the DNC. And I went backstage and I spoke to Joe. We talked about the debate the night before and what a disaster it had been. We talked about, what the campaign was looking like. I said to him, Joe, you cannot screw up. It was a different word, but
yes.
I said, you cannot screw up like that again, or, it'll be the death of this campaign. It's going to, he told me, we had a full conversation. And so I don't know, I asked her today, and this might sound crazy, but I have done this. I asked, because I remember, let's put it in context, everything that was going on. Hunter was on trial right around that time, and had just been, he was either still on trial or had been convicted. Joe Biden had gone on 2 or 3 international and
transatlantic,
No, he had gone on transatlantic, but also across the country trips. He had a cold. There were a bunch of different things going on, and I said to her, could it be, and he was 80 years old. I said, could it be possible that he drank something? And she said to me, I don't know, because I wasn't with him. I was campaigning on my own, and I didn't meet him until it was the time for the debate. Because listen, I'll tell you something. I have drunk Theraflu nighttime when I thought it was daytime. I have taken 2 Tylenol PM when I thought I was taking 2 Tylenol.
You've drank a bottle of tequila while you thought you were brushing your teeth. Yeah.
So to me, it's that performance was so
It
inexplicable.
was shocking. I remember thinking like, oh my God, what just happened? Yeah.
and also look, people are angry that she's now saying, I thought he was having a stroke, I was afraid, and that she went out and defended his campaign performance.
Yeah, you have
on
no problem
cameras.
with that. You think that's just what you do.
Brian,
Yeah.
like
Anytime a candidate loses.
I have seen people who are not married to anybody, who
Right.
have no love for them, who are like paid spinners, and I have seen them go out and defend the worst performances I've ever seen in a debate and say, our candidate won. I mean, I'm yet to. What is a wife supposed to do?
No, 100%.
I mean, what is a campaign staffer supposed to do? What is a wife supposed to do? Go out there and say, my God, my husband sucked.
No.
Isn't this the worst campaign performance you ever saw? I mean,
even
what do people want from her?
As far as they went afterwards, I remember it was a lot of them all saying he had a really bad night. And that was probably as bad as it's going to get.
What was interesting to me, but also I think, is who she is and who they are, is that she said to him, that he said to her, I really screwed up, didn't I?
Yeah.
And she said, yes, you did, to him.
As
But
you
when
would to your husband and as my wife would to me.
Oh, he wouldn't even have to ask me. I would tell him,
Same.
I would, listen, I told Joe Biden that the night afterwards. But when the cameras are on, that's not what you say.
Right.
As a wife.
No,
you know?
it's not.
So I don't know why people expect differently of her. And I also remember, and she alludes to it in the book, I remember, there were people who thinking that she was some sort of Lady Macbeth.
Yes.
Who wanted to stay in power because she was the one running everything behind the scenes. This woman has been a loyal political spouse for 50 years.
Can I
What
tell
the
you?
hell are
But
people
that has
thinking?
stayed there because I will say this. I have someone in my life, a family member, who said to me when I said, oh, we're having Jill Biden come on for a book. And she said, man, she wrote a book. She really is ambitious. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, what do they think she's trying to accomplish? It's
Melania
interesting.
Trump got paid $40 million for a documentary about picking a hat to wear at the swearing in.
Sure.
Jill Biden actually, and I like that we asked her that question and that she answered. This is my reflections of my life. I mean, she, and it's true. She talks at length about her teaching career, her decision to stay teaching while being first lady. She talks at length about her students, about what it meant to her, about, classes, actual like lessons she taught. I mean, this is something that she's not, making up. And I think everybody else has made money talking about the Bidens. Why the hell can't Jill make money and put her...
You want to put your stamp on history.
Stamp on it.
Yeah, 100%. All right, in other news, I know there's one...
And wait.
Yep.
Whoopi is doing a book event with her in New York today.
Mm-hmm.
And I am doing a book event. I'm moderating Jill's book event in Miami on Saturday, June 6th. And I think I don't know if there are still tickets, but if you're in Miami and want to go, look it up.
All right. And all the questions that need to get asked are going to get asked. This is good. All right. In other news.
Yeah, because I'm going to make her drink wine.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe doesn't drink a thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been a teetotaler because he's always told me that alcoholism runs in his family. But Jill, I'm going to get her some wine.
All right,
Go ahead.
well, buy your tickets before that word gets out. All right. In other news, I know one thing you wanted to talk about were the protests happening in Newark at Delaney Hall, the ICE detention center there. Immigrants detained there have launched a hunger strike over poor living conditions and alleged civil rights violations. It's horrible sounding stuff. Please tell me your reaction to this.
Well, and it's not the only instance of this. We have heard about the absolutely infrahuman conditions in Alligator Alcatraz.
Yes.
The ICE detention center they built in the middle of the Everglades, in the most inhospitable place they could possibly find. We have heard about what's going on in Newark and Delaney. We have heard about deplorable, unhygienic, inhumane conditions in Dilley, the detention center outside of San Antonio, where children are being held. And this week on my podcast, Bleep with Anna Navarro, I interviewed a New Yorker staff writer who went into Dili and was following the stories of the families there. Children going to the hospital, being sick from dirty water, for maggots in the food, not having access to medical care, being completely ignored as they were in distress. We saw the images of that remember little Liam Conejo Ramos,
Yes.
this, happy, healthy little boy. And while he was in that detention center, he was constantly in his father's arms, looking absolutely cathartic. I have spoken many times to Joaquin Castro, the congressman from San Antonio, who tells me about specific cases of just the level of malnutrition. So people understand these ICE detention centers are being run by private companies, a lot of them by the GEO Group, and a lot of them huge donors to the Republican Party. And so they get given X amount of money per immigrant. Let's just use round numbers, $100, right? Per immigrant per day. But if you only spend 50 of those dollars or 30 of those dollars, the other 70 are your profit. And so I think we really have to question whether we should have for-profit corporations running detention centers, particularly ones where children are being held. I think that the reason you're seeing these protests is because Americans are shocked, and the family members and friends and colleagues of these people who are being held and are hearing from them on the phone about how they are living just will not accept it. And I think, I think it's going to be a horrible, shameful stain on American history. I think we are going to be, your children are going to be studying this, and your grandchildren are going to be studying this the way, I read about the Japanese internment camps. Just a moment where, you cannot believe these things are happening in the United States.
And to that point, the DHS has repeatedly denied that conditions inside Delaney Hall are as poor or are civil rights violations.
Okay, before we go, let's talk about this poll you told me about. I'm a little shocked.
I enjoyed this, and I thought you'd enjoy it. So
where is this poll from?
It's on Reddit, which is a corner of the internet you never need to go into. But
I don't even know what it is.
I haunt it as well as comments on all the platforms for us. And someone posted, probably hoping I talk about it here, based on behind the table interactions, who do we think is Brian's favorite host? There were about 300 votes. The poll is now closed. Far and away, the winner, Joy Behar, with 155 of the nearly 300 votes. And last, with 8 votes, Anna Navarro. Now, this is not true. First of all,
No, I think it is evident because of your interactions with me. You're mean to me.
You're mean to me, but I think it's all shtick. I enjoy you, you enjoy me. I think we have a good time.
It's not shtick.
It's not shtick, it's shtick for me. I'm just playing. Jeez. First of all, anyone who knows me would know that anyone who gets a lot of views on the podcast would be one of my favorite people, and you get a lot of views.
That's all you care about. All you care about is ratings and views.
Joy got me a Webby.
Okay, so she is your favorite.
At the moment, she might be, but no one drives me crazier than Joy.
And somebody said that Cha-Cha should have been there because
Cha-Cha would have won the whole thing by herself. Yes, 100%. She doesn't talk. She sits there. She looks pretty. What else do you need? That's
and Whoopi wasn't even in the poll because she never does the podcast.
Well, she's in the poll. She only got 10 votes, but that's not.
She got more votes than me, and she's done the podcast twice. She got more votes than me, and she's done the podcast twice?
Yeah.
Okay, doesn't that make you question about your interactions with me?
I think I have to be more. I think I have to show people the real and honest affection I have for you better than I do on the podcast.
You know why?
Why?
Do you fall asleep on the others, or are you just like always battling a yawn when it's my podcast?
It's because we usually do you on Thursday, and the week has worn me down by then. I'm feeling.
Honey, I saw you yawn today.
Today I did not.
I saw you stifle a yawn right in the beginning, and we started to talk about Jill Biden.
It was a sneeze.
Are you not sleeping?
I don't sleep that much. No.
Why?
Because I have work.
Do you not take melatonin?
No, I never have.
Maybe you should try something.
Maybe I should, yeah.
Are you on your iPad in the middle of the night?
Doom scrolling and going to Reddit to see
that is awful.
What people are saying about me?
You have got, sleep is very important, Brian.
Sleep is very important. I agree with you. All right.
As is alcohol.
Alcohol also.
Sex.
Very important. Well, there we go.
Are we done?
I think so.
We have nothing else to talk about.
Well, we're out of time, I think, is the problem. I had other stuff to talk about, but we'll do it another time.
You got to be nicer to me.
I will be nicer to you.
I think people are picking up on something genuine.
Let's be clear here. I am very nice to you. I'm at your beck and call at all times. I'm telling you what celebrity you're taking a photo with. I'm fixing your iPad. I'm
Sometimes you give me attitude when I ask you for trivia questions.
Yes, but it's like Saturday. I said I'd be your
you said you would be my phone a friend because they wanted me to do the
Celebrity Millionaire.
Celebrity Millionaire,
Yes.
and I was already like sweating BBs about it.
Yeah.
Thank God the schedule didn't work out. But I asked you if you would be my phone a friend.
And I said yes. I was honored.
You have an enormous amount of useless trivia knowledge in your head.
It's the role I was born to play. Honestly, I really.
What I didn't know is that you get 5 phone a friends, and so depending on the topic,
you can
can
call
pick,
either one of them.
Right. So I was like, I was coming in with a strong list.
All right. I still think at some point we get the whole view on a game show at some point.
You will never get Joy to agree.
We'll see.
You will never get Whoopi
That one's harder.
to agree.
That one's harder.
I
but
mean,
we'll see.
yeah.
All right. We'll work on it. All right. Thank you for joining me today, Anna Navarro. Tomorrow,
Be nice to me.
I will be nice to you. I'm back tomorrow with Sarah Haynes, who rated much higher than you on the
How many votes did she get?
Like 50 something. Yeah.
I got 8. I was
8.
in the single digits.
You're in the single digits.
People think you hate me.
I
People
don't.
think you abuse me.
I adore you.
HR. People think you're mean to me.
All right. I'm telling you. What else does it say? I don't see any.
Were there any comments?
Joy, you can tell he reveres her and respects her.
Well, that's not true.
That's not true at all. This is what I'm saying.
Nor does she revere you.
No, she doesn't. Definitely Joy.
Joy is probably the person you have the most fights with.
Joy won him a Webby. That's what I'm saying. In real life.
Yeah, that part is true.
Yeah, the Webby helped a lot.
All right, I'm done with this stupid conversation. I cannot believe I got 8 votes.
Well,
can you redo that, please?
Yeah, we'll try it again.
And include Cha-Cha. That's the thing. If it had been Anna and Cha-Cha, like I think we should be one unit.
All right, we'll see what we can do. Thank you for joining me, and don't forget
to...
Yes,
we didn't even talk about jealousy and envy.
No, next time.
Okay, save it.
All right, we'll save it for next time. Jealousy and envy are on the table for the next podcast.
Both of which you suffer from.
Sure.
I don't suffer from either.
No, it's nice.
Okay.
We'll see you then.